Hi everybody. I hope we've got a few joining us. I'm awfully sorry for the slight delay in starting this afternoon. We've had some internet connection issues which have pushed us back sort of 5 or 10 minutes. So we really do appreciate your patience. But thanks for joining us. A very special East of England Tourism Awards webinar session for you this afternoon. Just a few introductions before we get going. I'm Gary Atfield, Client Director at Arch, and I'm part of the team here that organises and delivers the awards on behalf of Arch, but also our many partners, Visit East of England, Visit England, and our main sponsor, Host Seasons, along with many other sponsors and partners who generously help to fund the awards competition. I'm also joined by my colleague Stephanie Griffin, who's our events manager at Arch, and Steph will be talking to us in a little while about the application process, and I think very usefully giving some sort of top tips on how to produce an award winning entry. And I'm also very grateful to Georgina Postlethwaite of the Maid's Head Hotel. Georgina and the Maid's Head Hotel were the winner of last year's Large Hotel of the Year category. And Georgina's sort of joined us this afternoon to share some of her views on why businesses really should take the time to enter the awards. Thanks, Georgina, for that. The session itself, we think, will probably last about an hour. We are recording the session as well, so it will be available to view on the awards website. And you can also post any questions during the webinar, which between us we'll try our best to answer at the end of the presentation. And I'm also told that there might be one or two polls that pop up on the screen as we go through the webinar. It is a bit of an interactive session, so if you do see a poll, please do get involved in that. Super. Okay, good. Next slide, please. Okay, so in a little bit more detail, here are the kind of main areas that we intend to cover this afternoon. We'll start by talking a little bit more about why businesses, large and small, enter the awards, and importantly what benefits they've received as a result. We're also going to talk through how the awards, how they run, the process for entry. And importantly, how the regional awards link into the national Visit England Awards for Excellence competition as well. We're going to get into the detail of how to assess and produce an entry. So we'll take you through the entry form, and we'll give you all the information you need, we hope, to submit your best possible entry. Steph's then going to give us some top tips, pointers, that kind of stuff that we think might well assist you with your application. And then finally, we'll explain what the next steps are and the sort of the timeline associated with the awards competition. And as I said earlier, we will be sharing this deck that you can see at the moment, and we are recording the session, both of which will be available on the website after this afternoon's session. Next slide, please. So first off, why do businesses like yours enter competitions like this? Well, the view that we take is that the awards really are a part of a journey, as we see it, a journey which we think is all about being the best you can be. And we think that by entering awards competitions such as this, you will enjoy a number of benefits. You know, I know that everybody likes to win, but whether or not you achieve an award on the night, we do believe that your business will be a great deal better off as a result of taking part. And by applying, you will be turning a spotlight on your operation, and you'll be shown how to consider and look at that from the customer perspective. And by comparing yourself to other businesses that are operating in the same field as you, you will naturally be able to challenge yourself to be better. And at the end of the process, you will be well on your way to achieving excellence. And that can have a real positive impact on your bottom line. It's true that customers will pay a premium for a better experience. Staff will be motivated, more settled and committed, and we know how tough it is to retain staff currently. And your team, we believe, will have a sort of a shared sense of pride and purpose, and you'll be working towards a common set of goals. Next slide, please. Now, this is interesting insight here from Visit England. Just to sort of point out, Visit England conduct an application survey with all entrants each year from all of the regions that participate in the national awards, and that provides insights as to why businesses actually enter. And you can see here that more than half of the entrants last year said that they've entered really to be able to provide a mark of quality assurance. You know, the official endorsement, the trusted logo, can certainly help to provide a reputational benefit and a competitive advantage when it comes to booking one place over another. Secondly, you can see the motivation for entering links to PR and media coverage, and becoming a finalist within the awards program and going on to compete for an award is a newsworthy story. It does provide a great opportunity to generate media interest at a regional level, and if you go on to win at a national level, national winners have the additional benefits of being promoted through Visit England's consumer communication channels. Thirdly, you can see that benchmarking is another reason for entering in the first place. Important to say that all entrants will receive free feedback on their entry to help them improve their business. Gaining independent feedback, I think, is a very valuable tool in benchmarking where your business is right now and setting goals for future improvement and development. The fourth point here really is around entering. You know, entering can bring about stronger networking connections with other like-minded people and organizations, and it's those new connections that can sometimes lead to new business partnerships. It can lead to new learning, and it can lead to new collaborations. And finally, we touched on this very briefly, but being an award winner can also help you to attract higher quality staff. It can help you to increase staff motivation and loyalty. And it's a great opportunity to reward your staff and recognize their contribution to the business. So hopefully there's 5 jolly good reasons there to consider entering the Tourism Awards competition for 22-23. Next slide, please. So that's really great hearing from me talk about the benefits and the advantages. But as I said earlier, I'm going to bring Georgina into the conversation now. Georgina and the Maid's Head Hotel, as you can see from the slide, were the winner of the Large Hotel of the Year category. Georgina, it's really good to see you. Thanks for spending some time with us. Congratulations once again on your deserved award back in February. I was hoping that I might just be able to sort of ask 2 or 3 questions and just get you to give us your sort of your responses. I was going to start with, can you just explain for us what sort of motivated you and your hotel to enter the awards?
I think you've summed it up in your previous slide, really, all of the great reasons for entering. The Maid's Head has been very fortunate in that when we became an independent hotel 10 years ago, we've had a multi-million-pound investment, and it gave us the platform to be able to shout about it and to share it. And as an independent business, you don't have access to huge marketing budgets. So the Tourism Awards is a great way of showcasing what you do. And it's getting your name out there, your brand out there, and making not just people local to Norwich know about what you're doing, but as you said, you have the opportunity to take it nationally as well, and it's a great way of reflecting on what you do. The awards process is not the easiest process to go through, but it does make you sit down with the team and actually analyse what we do and realise what we do and the passion with which we do it. And as I said to you earlier, one of the hardest things is trying to condense what you want to say into the number of words that you are allowed to say it. And that's actually quite time consuming, because when you've got a passion for your business, there's so much you can talk about. It's trying to scale it back and within the word count that you've got, but it endorses what you do, and it's great for staff. If you can come back, I mean, the Tourism Awards night is really exciting, and that buzz just translates to the rest of the team as well. It's very much about sharing that success with them, and they are a massive, great big part of the success. As with any tourism hospitality business, your staff are your biggest asset, and we fully recognise that.
Fantastic. That's you mentioned sort of reflecting, Georgina. Can I maybe just push you to share maybe some of the things that you learn about yourselves from the process, and how that sort of benefited the hotel and how that's benefited the company. I mentioned feedback, I mentioned benchmarking, powerful sort of tools that enable the business to grow. I mean, what was your experience of the learning element that came from the program?
I think it's just sitting down and just taking that time out, with members of the team, and just actually drilling down on everything that we have done and have achieved over the last few years to help put, not just the Maid's Head on the map, but obviously contribute to Norwich as well. We're very lucky that we live in such a great city. And obviously we all know the rocky ride that we've had over the last few years, and we're now looking at how we can address the rocky ride that we're going forward and facing. But it's always about the guest experience, and it's always looking at listening to what your guests are saying, taking the time to address that, and then looking at seeing how you can implement ideas, what products you can bring to the table. I mean, in the picture there is our 2 Bentleys. So we have the 2 vintage Bentleys now, and they play a huge part in enhancing the experience of our guests. And that is what the Maid's Head is about. We're about making experiences for our guests when they do come and visit. We give them the best possible time we can, and obviously we appreciate that domestic tourists we are desperate to attract in order to continue to grow.
Thank you, thank you. It's a lovely team shot as well, isn't it? Your all of your team sort of lined up there.
Yeah, I mean, we won the independent hotel for Norfolk and Suffolk a few years ago, but then to actually go and win it for the whole of the east of England, and as we know, we've got some stunning venues in the east of England, and we're really proud of the fact that we live in a stunning area, but to win amongst all those amazing peers it's a good feeling.
So just my final sort of question for you. I mentioned sort of reputational sort of benefit, the ability to use the trusted logo. I mean, what has winning the award sort of given you a sort of a competitive advantage? I mean, you're in a competitive sector. Has that sort of helped from a sort of a marketing perspective for the business?
100%. I mean, we've just had the inspector call from the AA. So they do an anonymous visit, just like with the Tourism Awards. So we have the AA endorsement of being a 4-star silver hotel, and we have the 2 AA Rosette wine press restaurant as well, and that's fantastic. But to have the endorsement of being nominated and then to win the large hotel for the east of England, it really does endorse what we do, and it gives the person who's booking that confidence that they're going to be staying at somewhere which is going to deliver, and that they can stay with pride and go away and tell other people, friends, family, whatever, that they've stayed at the winner of the large hotel of the East of England Tourism Awards. So it really does endorse what we all strive to achieve. You don't work in hospitality and tourism unless you're really passionate about what you're doing. So it's great for everybody to have that endorsement and to have that passion recognised.
That's excellent. Thanks, Georgina. Very insightful, very honest, very open thoughts there, and hopefully some of that has will help to inspire those on the presentation this afternoon to get cracking with their entry for this year. I think we can move on to the next slide. And I think at this point, with sort of the process and entering very much in mind, I'm going to hand over to Stephanie Griffin, who is going to spend a little bit of time sort of taking us through the entry process. So over to you, Steph.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Gary, and thank you all for joining us today. If I could just have the next slide, please. Lovely. So to start with, I just want to talk through the timeline on how you can expect the awards process to run. So we open for entries on the 23rd of July, and we remain open for entries. We've got just over 3 weeks left until the 2nd of October at midnight. So following on from that, the judging process will begin. We will have the round 1 judging process, which is very much paper-based, and judges reviewing individually and scoring against the set Visit England criteria. What will happen, the scores will be combined to determine a short list of businesses for round 2, and then the judging of round 2 will be complete in 2 ways. So that will either be an organised meeting at your business premises, or through our judging partner Insight 6, who will send out suitable individuals to complete an anonymous visit at your premises to again judge against the set criteria provided by Visit England. Obviously, us, the events team, we will be in touch with you to organise this either way. So if that's booking in a meeting or agreeing to a complimentary service, we'll be in touch, give you all of the details and so on, if you are shortlisted for the round 2 of judging. So there will be 5 finalists for each category that will be selected following on from round 2 of judging, and one of which will be the winner of the category. The judging is all due to be complete by December, and shortly after this, the businesses will all be notified of their standing in the awards, and you'll start to get supplied with feedback depending on which level in the process that you make it to. There are varying levels of feedback. It may just be on your entry, or it may be sort of start giving you sort of feedback from a judging visit. Obviously, if you're a finalist, you'll be invited to the event itself and asked to supply information to sort of begin that promotion of your business for the awards process. Then on to February 2023, finalists will be announced in one of our lovely supplements. We produce these and it details all of our finalists in there, and it will be available in print and online, and each of the titles that are connected with our awards, as obviously we cover the whole of the East. And at this point, we encourage all businesses to start shouting about their finalist status as much as possible, to really start beginning that sort of marketing and promotion and shouting about sort of making it to the actual awards night. So then on to March 2023, we will have the awards event. The venue and date will be announced very soon, so keep an eye out for that announcement. So it's very exciting times. And then also just following on after the event itself, we will have the winner supplement where we'll feature all of our winners, imagery from the night, and our judges' comments and so on. And then following on from the awards, we do have individual winners features, so the content doesn't stop there from that point of view, and we'll give you access to promo materials, both as finalists and winners, just to keep shouting about that and marketing your business and letting everyone know about your achievements. Following on from this, Visit England will be completing their judging and then invite any businesses that have been sort of selected as finalists to the actual awards event, which is due to take place in June 2023. Next slide, please. Lovely. So we use an online system called Open Water for the entry procedure. You don't need to register just to access the details about the awards. We have all of the information on our categories and criteria requirements on the awards website itself, detailed at the bottom of the screen, which is www.tourismawards.co.uk. To enter, you will need to register and complete the application forms online. So on our website, you'll see that we accept nominations from customers as well as business entries. So for all of our nominations we receive, we'll deliver the good news to the businesses, however, do require that business entry for it to be judged by for round one of the judging process. The system is user-friendly and we are here and on hand to help if you do have any queries. So you can save your entry as you go along and come back to it, so you don't have to do it all at once, as it can be quite a lengthy process, and especially if you want to sort of get that sort of copy absolutely perfect, you might want to go away and come back to it a few times. So there are just some extra things to note that will help you make use of the system. So you can delegate the application to a colleague if necessary. The system will strip out any formatting attached to the data you cut and paste across from any other source. So if you are using cut and paste from a Word document, you'll need to use the Control-V rather than the paste option, just to make sure that goes over properly. And obviously following on from that, do just double check any formatting, especially any URL links and so on, to make sure that it's sort of sitting correctly. Text boxes will cut out at the word limit. So for each of the points throughout the form, you'll see there is a word limit available, and like I say, it will cut out from there. Anything with an asterisk is mandatory, and the application will not submit unless those fields are completed. And then you will not be able to access or amend your application once the deadline has passed. So 2nd of October, that is the complete deadline of when everything needs to be submitted and sent through to us to make sure the judges can view it. And then there is no limit on the number of entries that you can submit. So it's free to enter the awards please do enter any categories that you feel are suitable and relevant to your business. Obviously making sure each one of those are sort of as quality and detailed as possible, to make sure they're the best for each of our judges to review. Remember to save everything as you go along, and like I said, click submit before the deadline. So if you have any queries or questions at all with using the system, do just get in touch with us and we are more than happy to help you. Next slide, please. Lovely. So the start of the entry form isn't scored. So this really gives you an opportunity to provide the background information for your business. Please obviously use the business name as you wish it to appear in any publicity materials. So when it comes to if you're selected as a finalist on a certificate, presentations, etc., just in case you're a winner as well. You'll need to provide a 120-word promotional description of your business. So focusing on your strengths and sort of standout features relevant to the category that you're entering. So do take a bit of time to really craft your words for this, as they'll also be used in PR and awards literature if you are shortlisted as a finalist. The same goes for images, so just making sure that you're supplying them suitably. So landscape, high resolution photos that really show off what your business does, relating to the category where possible. And importantly, please make sure that you include photos that you own the copyright for. So if it requires a third party, including that credit, photographer's name, etc. And they will potentially, for example, those images be used for Visit England if you were then selected later on down the line. So you then have a 250 words to briefly outline the story of your business. So you should include sort of information such as the length of time the business has been trading, time under sort of current ownership, the target market and typical customer profile, any key milestones that you've sort of reached in developing the business, an indication on your size, number of staff employed, and so on. And the final element in this section is to look at any awards that you've received. So any ratings and accolades that you've received in the last couple of years, even any that are sort of relating to COVID-19 too, do sort of list those in there, and it will sort of come in useful when the judges are sort of taking time to review that aspect. There isn't a requirement for your business to be quality assessed. However, if you have independent quality assessments or mystery shopping of reports from the last 2 years, you can upload those too if you'd like to. Next slide, please. Lovely. So for each question, you have the option to provide evidence to back up what you've said in your answer. This isn't compulsory. However, you might want to include links to your pages on your website that include relevant information to the section you're answering. Judges will do a thorough review of your online presence and will surface most content. So if you are providing additional information over and above what is sort of publicly available, make sure it adds that extra dimension to your answer. It's sort of therefore not generally necessary to link to public pages on your website or provide additional photos unless sort of illustrating something specific from within the application that can't be found elsewhere online. If you want to show the judges any behind the scenes information or data that's relevant to your application, you can include links to hidden pages on your website that aren't sort of viewable by the public. So that might sort of make it easier to get that sort of information all in one place for the judges. Any written information, however, provided in sort of supplementary evidence in an attempt to get around the word count will be disregarded though. So do try to stick to it as much as possible. Next slide, please. So we now move on to the scored sections. So you do need to provide links here to your online presence in relation to the category you're entering. So links to any business pages or profiles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter handles, as well as any specific links to customer review listings for your business. So TripAdvisor, Booking.com, Facebook, Google, and so on. New for 2022, as part of the review, judges will also be looking for evidence of your commitment to accessible, inclusive tourism, as well as ethical, responsible and sustainable tourism, in addition to sort of COVID-19 customer reassurance. So links to your accessibility and sustainability information are also requested now. In addition to, as per 2021, judges will also be looking for evidence of customer reassurance within your online presence as a result of COVID-19. So that might include COVID-19, a link to your website showing details of restrictions in place to changes to visitor experience. Also, any examples of how you've implemented government guidance relevant to your sector as well. Other sites not listed in your entry will also be looked at. So if there are, for example, any bad reviews, which I'm sure there are not, you won't be able to sort of hide that from the judges. They will really dig deep when they're sort of taking the review. If you go through to the Visit England Awards for Excellence, this section will be revisited by the national judges. So just make sure that all of your digital platforms are up to date before you submit your entry, and then maintain throughout the year. So when it does come around to sort of early next year, those judges, when they're looking at your sort of online presence and reviews, they can see that you've kept that all up to date. As we said at the beginning, these awards are all about excellence. So we'll be looking at how you excel in this area and how you engage with your target markets. Next slide, please. Thank you. So remember that the local competition is the start of a journey that could end up being the best in the country. So think about not only what makes you the best in your area, but potentially the best across England, for example. Think about why your business is impressive compared to your competitors. Do your customers say you're the best? What is the most frequent comment they make about you? And why the experience you offer is so memorable. Consider all areas of your business that you excel in. So looking at services and facilities offered, care that you give your staff and visitors, sustainability and accessibility. Think about the ways that you are innovative in your field. So what you do to ensure every element of your business is excellent. Next slide, please. Thank you. So specifically on accessibility and inclusivity, it's so important to stress that this aspect is part of what the judges will be looking for in all categories, so not just the Accessible and Inclusive Tourism Award. It also obviously makes business sense, as 1 in 5 people in the UK have an impairment, which may affect where they choose to stay or visit. So improving your accessibility benefits all customers and does not always require major or expensive changes. Simply providing a free accessibility guide for your venue can help you be more inclusive for people with a wide range of visible and hidden impairments. Tourism businesses with improved accessibility appeal to a wider range of customers. So it's not just disabled customers who benefit, it's families, older people, and practically all of your customers in one way or another. People with health conditions and impairments tend to take long holiday breaks than average, and therefore tend to spend more money per trip. They also want more information in advance, which is why your accessibility information should be easy to find on your website. As in other areas, the initiatives should be across the business and not in silo, and your team need to be on board and well informed. There is loads of free training and guidance available, and Visit England has a dedicated section on its business advice hub to help be more accessible at www.visitengland.org/access. Answers to questions are encouraged to include details of facilities and welcome for people with a range of accessibility requirements. For example, this may include information provision, adapted customer experiences, accessible facilities for people with a range of impairments, and staff disability awareness training. So consider information available, such as information and interpretation in alternative formats, clear and easy to read signage, printed information, accommodation, information on the accessibility of places to eat and visit. When it comes to facilities and services, so are there specific facilities provided for customers with accessibility requirements? Are the accessible facilities, such as the bedrooms and toilets, of the same quality as other facilities or even better? And then when it comes to attractions, are there dedicated sessions to engage disabled groups, such as touch tours for the visually impaired, relax sessions for people with autism, or dementia-friendly sessions, for example? And then when it comes to staff disability and accessibility awareness, so are staff confident in serving customers with accessibility requirements? And are they aware and familiar with sort of your facilities, services and equipment available? Just to ensure that customers can enjoy the same level of service and experiences as everyone else. And obviously ensuring that any COVID secure measures that are still in place don't negatively impact the engagement of the staff. Next slide, please. Thank you. The judges will be looking for what's new, so particularly if you've entered in the past and sort of won or become a finalist, definitely think about this. This question is for you to tell the judges up to 5 ways in which you've developed your business or improved the customer experience over the last 2 years. So one or more of the following example areas may be relevant to address in your answer. Obviously only include examples of improvements undertaken in the last 2 years. So any promotional initiatives, improving the skills of yourself and your team, any expansions or upgrade of facilities and enhancements to your services, managing and improving environmental, social and economic impacts. For example, that might include carbon reduction plan, energy and waste monitoring, green transport, responsible purchasing, and so on. Being innovative and adapting to restrictions, diversification and resilience, sort of building during COVID-19, and then including reasons for making the improvements that you have made. So is that driven by customer feedback and so on. It is helpful to provide the reasons for making improvements, so whether that is driven by customer feedback and the approximate date of improvement. So show the full journey that you've been through to get to where you are now. So why did you decide to do it? How did you decide what to do exactly? And how did you embed sustainability into the plans? What targets did you set out to achieve? And how have you monitored outcomes and outputs? Next slide, please. So, ensure to detail 3 successes from the last year, so providing figures where relevant. One or more of the following example areas may be relevant to addressing your answer. So whether you are able to attribute success directly to any of the improvements that you've made, mentioned previously, percentage increase in occupancy levels or visitor numbers, sales, customer satisfaction and wastage reduction, percentage increase in online bookings, any increase in repeat business, or any business generated from marketing activity. And then finally, growth of social media following and your engagement. Next slide, please. Lovely. So you obviously may be excellent now, but judges are also looking for how the business will continue to evolve. So a truly outstanding business never stands still. So you need to tell the judges 3 ways that you will develop and promote your business over the next year, and sort of detailing why. So 1 or more of the following example areas may be relevant to addressing your answer. Obviously, as I say, it's not necessary for you to cover all of these areas, but it's just some suggestions to try and help you. So any continued adaptation, diversification and resilience building as a result of COVID-19. Facilities and welcome for people with a range of accessibility requirements, and then managing and improving environmental, social and economic impacts. For example, that might include carbon reduction plan, energy and waste monitoring, green transport, and so on. Any expansion, upgrade of facilities and enhancement to your services, and then improving the skills of you and your team. Obviously, very importantly, your marketing and PR, including any partnerships with other businesses, as well as your operational efficiency. It is helpful to provide evidence of how you've identified the need and opportunity, and the impact you're looking for it to have, basically. Next slide, please. Perfect. So the main pointers: you need to avoid hesitation. So be specific and confident in the information that you're supplying. Repetition, don't duplicate the information that you're supplying. Make sure you really, as I said earlier, read through your entry, the information that you're submitting, and making sure you're sort of to the point and very specific. Deviation, try not to deviate. Read the question, and make sure you're sort of answering that question, not going off peak with that. The questions are specific, so once you have drafted your answer, as I said, read the question again and challenge yourself to tighten your response. If you can convey what you need to say in less words than loud, don't feel the need to sort of pad out your answer. A common mistake is to provide the answer you want to give rather than answer the question that has been asked. So be specific, use data and evidence facts to support your answer. Next slide, please. Perfect. So this slide very much says it all. So you basically need to highlight why you're different and what your best qualities are. As I said, don't overcomplicate it, keep it straight to the point, and sort of really engage with the question and make sure you're keeping that in mind when you're writing up your answers. Reflect your passion and personality. That way the judges really do get an idea what your business is all about. And it really sets the scene when they're starting to review your information, and sort of start to look against each of the scorings. Showing how you act on feedback, that comes back to the review sites and things. So it's making sure you're engaging with any of those sort of pieces of feedback that you get, and taking the correct steps that you've got sort of planned within your business. Don't forget accessibility and sustainability, as we've discussed, and make sure that you read through your entry form twice to make sure that it's perfect. And then finally, just review and submit on time, keeping in mind that date of the 2nd of October. Lovely. Next slide, please. Lovely. So just to highlight what happens next. So following on from the 2nd of October, entries will close and that round 1 of judging will begin. Following on from that, round 2, that will be the Insight 6 or organised meeting judging process. That will take place up until December, as mentioned, and then we will let each business know the status within the competition and invite them to the event, as well as provide any feedback. Now, something to really note is on round 2 judging, the Insight 6 meetings, there is a full form completed and review by Insight 6, which can be invaluable to your business. So either way, if you make it through to round 2, then you're really best to make the most of that sort of review from Insight 6 and pick it up with them to sort of gain any feedback. They'll tell you what's sort of going well, any sort of constructive comments following on from that. So it really is invaluable and sort of something that you're quite lucky to have access to with that feedback as well. Lovely. And then obviously the event will take place where we'll announce our winners following on from that one, and then it will go on to the Visit England Awards for Excellence. Lovely. And I think that is it from me. Back over to Gary.
Gosh, well done, Steph. Good energy there. You covered a lot of ground. I think probably everybody on the call realizes that the process is a rigorous one, but it's definitely worth it. You know, as Georgina has already said, it's a valuable exercise to assess your business, and we would we'd encourage you to get involved. We did mention that if there are any questions through the presentation, do post them, and we've actually got one here, Steph, which is it reads, I've read the self-catering category, and I've read the camping, glamping and holiday park category, and I'm struggling to decide which one is best for our business. Can you elaborate at all? Now, I think one of the things that you said, Steph, during your sort of presentation was that businesses can enter an unlimited number of categories. So I guess without knowing the specific detail of the business that's made that particular question, I think our response might be, well, enter both.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also, something else to think about is on our awards website, you can click through to Visit England, and they have further sort of in-depth criteria points which you might like to look at, and upon sort of reviewing those, you might decide that one fits better for your business and you might like to enter into that specific one. But yeah, feel free to go with whatever you feel is most suitable.
Fantastic. Thanks, Steph. Well, we don't actually have any other questions posed, so either we've got a bit of a shy audience, or your detail was so specific you've answered everything. Oh, hang about. It looks like we might have another one. One moment. Here we go. Yes, we've got. Well, they're flowing in now. Here we go. So here's a question from Emily. We are a seasonal visitor attraction, and we're only open from April to October. So it looks like a mystery visit wouldn't be possible. Should we still enter? Good. That's a really great question, actually. And Steph, you might just want to touch on how we intend to deal with that.
Absolutely. So as we get entries in, for the entry form, you do actually have to detail your closures, when you will stop, and so on, if you're not open any particular days. That just helps with the entry process. So as we get those entries in, we do keep an eye on that. But judges will receive their entries straight away after we close, and they'll have 2 weeks to review for the first round, and then we have some of October to be able to accommodate that visit. Obviously, if the business is going to close before that, we'll have note of those closure dates, and we'll rush it through to make sure that it gets sort of scored appropriately. So definitely still enter the awards.
I think the message there is that the visits will be accelerated to be done within October. So yeah. Yes, I think our response would be definitely you must enter. Another question here actually from John. Could we just recap on the categories, please? It might mean that I'm not sure if we had those up on one of the slides or not, but perhaps we could just recap on those, Steph. John runs a small B&B, and his comment is the weight of the entry process does seem overwhelming. Yeah, I think maybe Georgina can give us a touch of reality on that, having gone through the process. But shall we start just start with a recap of what the categories are?
Certainly. So we have a few categories available, so covering different areas. So we've got our Accessible and Inclusive Tourism Award, our B&B Guest House of the Year, Camping, Glamping and Holiday Park of the Year, Ethical, Responsible and Sustainable Tourism Award, Experience of the Year, Large Hotel and Small Hotel, Large Visitor Attraction and Small Visitor Attraction, New Tourism Business, Pub of the Year, Self-Catering Accommodation of the Year, and then we've got our Taste of East of England Awards. And obviously, if you visit our website, detailed on the screen, you'll be able to have another look at each of those categories too.
Thanks, Steph. Excuse me. Georgina, I don't know if you wanted to just give us a dose of reality. John mentions that the entry process can seem overwhelming. I think that's a very fair observation. I mean, you've been through the experience. You know, what might you sort of say to John that might give him the you know, the confidence and the motivation to crack on with his entry?
I think it was there was two words that Steph said, which resonated with me, was passion and personality. You know, we all know our businesses, we're all independent businesses, and we know them like nobody else does. And I think that is what shines through when you write a good submission. You know, you've got all the answers, you've got all the information, and just write it with that passion for your business, of everything that you do. And that's the best advice I think I can give. Yes, you've got to give some data. You know, you mentioned about facts and occupancy levels and visitor numbers and growth. Yes, you've got to put that in, but you know where to find that. You know what your reviews are being said about you online. You know, your social media postings, followings, reviews. You know, you've got it all. It's just a question of sitting down and just focusing in and trying not to overwrite too many words. And I would say to do it as a Word document rather than, and then, as you said, paste it into online. That is the best way to do it.
Thanks, Georgina. That's great. Good. Okay. Well, thanks for those questions. It's really good to get a few there to answer and hopefully offer you the encouragement to keep going. Now, the good news is that we've managed to catch up a little bit of time here, and I think we're just overrunning slightly beyond 4. So I'm going to bring things to a close now. I mentioned at the start that the recording will be available shortly on the Tourism Awards website. I think you can see the website address on the screen now. And equally, if you do have any further questions at all, then please do feel free to contact us at the email address all.awards@archant.co.uk, and our team will be very happy to respond. So finally from me, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. My apologies again that we had a little bit of a late start. A big thanks to Georgina for joining us and sharing her experiences. We do appreciate it. And thanks also to Steph for her presentation earlier. We hope that we really do hope that we can see an entry from you soon. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks for your time. Goodbye.
Bye.